In this part of video, we are going to discuss about the matrix multiplication of scalars. So basically what we are going to see here is how a real value or real number is multiplied with a matrix. So when you multiply with a scalar value with a matrix, it actually what happens is that every element of the product matrix C, that is Cij, is equals to the lambda times of the respective component in capital A matrix, that is Aij. So every element is multiplied by that particular real value, and this particular thing is the final product of this multiplication of a scalar with the matrix. Now we are going to see some properties of scalar multiplication. You see that if lambda and phi, both of them are real numbers. A is a matrix, B is another matrix. So accordingly, the sizes are defined so that the respective multiplications are remain defined. So now you see the associative property. The associative property with respect to the multiplication we are looking at, and here the associative property, you can see we are having lambda times phi first and then multiplied by the matrix. Then in the right side of the equality, you are seeing that phi times matrix and then lambda times the product of the previous multiplication. Here you can notice some very beautiful things or very special things. Like from the left hand side of the multiplication of the equality, you see the first multiplication is done between two scalars, between two real values, and then that real value is multiplied with a matrix. On the contrary, if you are looking at the right hand side of the equality, the first time phi is or scalar value is multiplied with a matrix and it turns out to be a matrix. Then the lambda, which is a scalar value, is again multiplied to a matrix. So earlier we have one multiplication between two scalars and one multiplication between a scalar and a matrix. On the contrary, now we have both the multiplications of scalars with a matrix. Similarly, you can see in the second line, but here we have two matrices AB and they are multiplied with a scalar. Now we say that lambda times A you can do, or lambda times B you can do, and you can do first AB and then multiply by lambda. It is all same. Now similar to the same ideas or similar to the things that we have learned from the associative property, you can see in the distributive property as well. In the first distributive property that we are talking about, where in the scalar multiplication is distributive over the addition of two scalars, right? What it means is that you first add two scalars and then multiply it with a matrix. Addition of the two scalars is a scalar and then that scalar is multiplied with a matrix. In the second one, you have a scalar value multiplied by a multiplied with a matrix, which are added or which is a result of addition of two matrices. On the first thing or on the first item of this list, you have addition between two scalars as one operation and then multiplication of a scalar and a matrix. On the right side of the equality, you have scalar element is multiplied with a matrix. These are two operations and then there is an addition between the two matrices. So you need to notice all different things that are happening, because every operation is different when the operands are changed. The type of operands actually make sense. It is very similar to the class behavior or the function overloading and function wherein we say that we have to implement functions if the domain of or if the input changes. So if the input is float, and then you want to take something else, let us suppose that you want to take a string plus another string, a string plus a number, a string number plus a number. So all the operations have to be implemented in a different fashion, so they are different. So the operand symbol is not the only one that signifies the operation. The operands also tells the behavior or changes the behavior of the operation. Okay, anyways, the same thing is summarized over here. In this portion, I am trying to show you a proof, and the proof is not to show a special proof that it is a very special proof. I just want to tell you how to appreciate each and every line of the proof. Now the idea is we need to prove whether if the inverse of AB is B inverse or n multiplied by A inverse. Okay, so by the definition of inverse itself, we should know that B inverse A inverse, if pre-multiplied by AB or post-multiplied by AB, then it should give or it should result into an identity matrix. Now, if it is pre-multiplied, then we say B inverse A inverse is the left inverse of AB. And if it is post-multiplied, then we say B inverse A inverse is the right inverse of AB.